Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel of indiaballer.com. Under the section of BOE guideline, we are now going to give you another very important aspect in this particular video, and that is how to prepare for the Viva examination. As you have been told, and you might have known, that after you pass the written examination of 3 papers, you are qualified or eligible for the Viva examination, after passing which you will get the certificate, BOE certificate. Now, see, the knowledge base which you require for the BOE preparation is definitely going to help you in the Viva, right? But the approach in a Viva examination has to be different because it is verbal, one-to-one personal interaction. You may be having a sufficient amount of knowledge on certain things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when some questions is asked, you are able to give the answer satisfactorily, right? It's a different skill set altogether. So for that, certain approaches are required to be created, right? Now, when you go for a Viva examination for BOE, I would say you have to have this 3C approach to ensure the success in the Viva. Okay, now 3C, the first C stands for, and one of the most important C is the confidence. When you answer, your answer should reflect the confidence in you. It should reflect that yes, you are working in that particular system for which the certificate has been given to you for a reasonable amount of time, which is mentioned in the certificate. And therefore, any questions, if asked on that particular boiler system, naturally your answer has to be, first of all, very, very spontaneous, right? Without hesitation, because you have been sitting in that system for such a long time, operating that system for such a long time, everything you know like back of your hand, right? So the confidence has to be there. Remember one thing, the gentleman in front of you is an experienced person. He maybe would be coming from, and there might be more than one, there could be in a table, there could be 2 or 3 examiners sitting, right? So don't get hassled up because of that. Now, he is knowledgeable about this boiler system in general, right? But he is not from your boiler system. The master of your boiler system is you, right? So whatever you would be saying, you would be saying with full confidence, not with the indication of whether I'm saying wrong. He might be, yeah, of course. If you are saying something absolutely nonsense, for example, your boiler pressure is 150 kg per centimeter square, and you say your BFP discharge pressure is 145 kg per centimeter square, those sort of answers will definitely disqualify you immediately, because that will prove that you have absolutely no idea about your system, right? But otherwise, once you're ready, naturally you have to be ready, you have to prepare. The confidence has to come from the knowledge base. So when you answer with confidence. The second important C is the clarity. Now, clarity in both ways. One is when somebody is asking you a question, see, this gentleman may also have a problem of communication. What he is asking and what is coming out of his mouth may not be clearly indicating what he is asking. And the second problem is what you perceive from what he is asking. Now, if this two doesn't match, if he's asking something about one thing and you are answering about another thing, that is going to be a biggest blunder. The first important thing is to understand what the examiner wants you to tell. It is not a problem. If you say, if you have any confusion that whether he's asking this or that, then ask him again, sir, do I understand that you want me to say this? Repeat, and then uh, confirm. Yeah, once you are confirmed that yes, he is asking about this, then answer again with clarity. Don't put too many things together. Sometimes people has a tendency of using certain technical terms, some nomenclatures and all that thing. Abbreviation is a very dangerous one. In your plant, you might be knowing some equipment as EC45, but that EC45 doesn't have any meaning to the other person who is not working in your plant, right? Abbreviation, try to avoid. Answer should be given with total clarity. Okay, so that is the second C you have to ensure. And the third C, which is again, I would say very important C, is the completeness in your answer. Somebody is asking you a question. If you just give 1 or 2 line answer, keeping certain things in you with an understanding that this is something which is very obvious, it need not be said, don't do that. Okay, because if certain answer this gentleman is expecting from you and some part of that is missing in your answer, then he is going to start following up with those questions leading to that one which you have missed, right? So he would finally ultimately make you tell that, and then he will say, but you didn't say this earlier. So don't make that mistake. First of all, there is no hurry in answering. See, it's a natural human tendency that if something I'm not very comfortable with, I want to finish it as early as possible. Somebody is asking me a question, I give fatafat answer and finish it off. But that is going to be actually going against you in the Viva. See, in a Viva examination, there are so many number of engineers are given a date. You come to this particular place for the Viva examination, and there is a defined time period. Now, within this time period, these people will have to take the Viva examination of this many people. So, certain amount of time has been assigned for you. If you give quick answers, what benefit you get? This gentleman will get more time to ask you more number of questions. I don't think you want that, right? So don't be in a hurry. Take your time, understand the question properly, give the answer with complete clarity and with completeness, right? Try to give as much information as possible. Always look at the facial expression of the examiner. Okay, because when he is asking a question, he has got a certain answer in his mind. When you give that, he becomes satisfied, and that reflects on his face, right? He goes to the next question. So always think that is he expecting something more, and then go on giving them in complete detail whatever you have asked, right? So most important thing is that this 3C you have to keep it in mind when you go for the Viva. Now, the first thing I say it is the confidence, the clarity in your answer. Now, all this thing, when we talk about a verbal communication, it comes with practices also, right? So, before the Viva examination, try to practice answering some typical questions those are being asked. So in this connection, let me tell you that we have a certain set of questions which have been collected by various people giving this Viva examination at different times, right? I can share it with you to practice, right? The more you practice, the more confidence, more fluency will come in your answers. So just make a comment if you want. If you want this, I'm going to share it with you. Okay. Now, which are the areas we need to know. Now, the first thing we need to know is your boiler, because in Viva examination it's very difficult to gaze that what this gentleman is going to ask me. But there is one good thing about BOE Viva. You always know the first question. The first question will be definitely about your boiler system. Okay, they are going to tell you, okay, tell me about your boiler, or give the boiler specification, or which boiler you are working in, right? So prepare that first. Start with, of course, the first question would be, they would be asking your name, right? Start with that, sir, I am from this company, I am working in this plant, and then you give the boiler description in detail. Now, when you say the boiler description in detail, you start with the type of the boiler. Type of the boiler, there are two types of boiler basically, water tube and fire tube type, right? Which will be mentioned in the certificate that have been given by your company, by your organization, which you have submitted to the BOE department, boiler department, before the examination. Now, the details which have been mentioned there in that certificate, those are the details which are available with him, because the certificate will be with them, the examiners. So make sure that you by heart all those details, and your answer should not contradict any of those informations that have been given on the certificate. That is the very important thing to know. Okay, so first they prepare the information that have been given in the certificate. There it will be given either it's a water tube type or a fire tube type boiler, right? And I have added here the heat source. So when you say a boiler, suppose I am having an oil fired or coal fired boiler or a gas fired boiler, right? So when I say, sir, I am having a water tube type, oil fired or oil and gas fired industrial type boiler, some people are having that in refineries and petrochemicals plant, or I am having a pulverized coal fired boiler tangential type. When you say this, that the heat source is known, coal is the fuel, oil is the fuel, both combination of oil and gas is the fuel, something like that. But if it is a waste heat recovery boiler, then the source is becoming very, very critical. Okay, so I'm indicating to those people who are from various refineries and petrochemical plants, primarily chemical engineers, because now chemical engineers are also eligible for this examination, and they are operating on waste heat recovery boiler. Now, you have a responsibility to make them understand that what is the heat source, right? So give it in very thorough detail. Don't go into very much into the process, where the process it is available, how you are extracting that heat, and how you are generating the steam. Again, a note of caution: those who are from waste heat recovery boiler, process engineers, chemical engineers, they actually think that boiler as a heat exchanger. It's a heat exchanger to cool the process, heat exchanger to utilize the waste heat, something like that, right? But that thought process has to change. You are going for a BOE examination, it's a boiler for you, right? And make your boiler respectable, right? Try to give all the details to sound respectable, because again, in many examiners' mind, a waste heat recovery boiler is a heat exchanger. Then why do you need a BOE certificate for that, working for that, right? So be very careful when you are in a waste heat recovery boiler. Now, when you say the boiler type and the heat source, the next thing is coming is the capacity of the boiler, right? So capacity in terms of tons per hour of steam generation. Now, if those people who are in power industries, they have a habit of telling their boiler about, I have a 500 megawatt BHL boiler, PF boiler, I have a 250 megawatt boiler, right? But that is okay for understanding, that is okay. But when you're going for BOE, the size, the capacity of the boiler is the capacity of the steam generation of this boiler, right? Now again, that would be mentioned in your certificate, the capacity. Give that capacity to them, and then mention the kind of steam you are generating, that is the pressure and temperature. Is a superheated steam, naturally the temperature has to be mentioned. Some people are generating saturated steam, so tell them that we are generating saturated steam at this pressure, right? And finally, where the steam is being used, right? If you are having a reheat system in a power boiler system, mostly you'll be having a reheat system. So tell them that this is a reheat system, having a reheat system with a reheat temperature of this. Okay, and then where is used, so those people in the process industry, they will be maybe sending the steam to a common header, right, of that particular quality of steam, or it can be used partially for steam generation, partially for process heating in a cogeneration plant. Or if you are a typically power industry, then steam will be going directly to the turbine, right? So tell them what is the purpose of the steam. Okay, now type of circulation and draft and all other details, like it's a vertically supported or top supported boiler with two pass, this, that, all these details will depend whether that person is getting satisfied with the previous answers. Otherwise, you need the first four: the type of boiler, the capacity, the pressure and temperature of the main steam, and if you are having reheat, then the pressure and temperature of the reheat. Pressure you don't need to mention, temperature of the reheat. These are the four important informations which you cannot miss when you talk about your boiler system, right? But if this gentleman wants more, which his expression is going to say or show it to, then you go on adding, because it's your boiler, you know all the detail, right? Go on adding that we have got is a natural circulation with a balanced draft system. We have got this many PF and this many FD fan and this and that. Go on adding till he is getting satisfied and ask you the next question. Now the detailing in which you answer the first question, the confidence with which, the fluency with which you answer the first question is going to decide the route of this Viva examination, right? Because the first answer gives you the impression whether this gentleman is having sufficient amount of information about his own system, he is confident about his knowledge and all those things, right? So prepare for this particular questions with most care. Okay, try to use practice answering this particular question again and again and again. The couple of other things about your boiler would be also mentioned on the certificate, right? One is the boiler registration number, second is the heating surface area. Now when somebody is asking about your boiler, I have seen people, they said, sir, my boiler is this, my registration number is this, my heating surface area is this much. These are not the information which is telling you somebody about your boiler. Suppose somebody is asking you which vehicle you are using, right? Do you start with I am using UP 5678 registration number vehicle, right? You go with the other detail which is going to tell you about the vehicle. So registration number, heating surface area, yes, these two are the information which is already mentioned in your certificate, should be known to you. If asked, then only give this answer, otherwise not. Okay. Now, as I told you that the Viva examination will be mostly, the questions will be mostly oriented around your own boiler system or your boiler, type of your boiler system. Okay, so you need to know about your boiler in absolute great detail. It's not a bad idea when you prepare for BOE, then create a section, my boiler, right? Go on adding whatever information you get. For example, whatever parameter you see online as well as offline, which has been measured and recorded. Online means whatever is seen in the DCS. Offline means, for example, the steam and water chemical analysis report which you get from the laboratory, fuel analysis report which you get from the laboratory, sieve analysis report, all those details, everything these are being measured, those are being recorded. You put it on a paper and keep it as your boiler information. Okay, so some of the questions which they are going to ask, for which you need to know about your boiler system, I'm just going to give you some quick indication of that, right? So the thing which you need to know about your boiler system is your flue gas system. That means whatever the pressure, temperature and flow which are measured in your air and flue gas system in your DCS, right? You just go on noting down. Now, a point of caution here. Many people, they see the DCS, but they do not know from where this particular measurement has been taken. Because DCS is just a representative mimic, right? It doesn't exactly show from the location from where this measurement has been taken. So make it a routine practice. It is also going to help you in actual operation. That whatever DCS measurements are shown, right, with your CNI guys, confirm that from where it has been taken, which temperature or which pressure this one is showing, right? Confirm that. Now, if somebody is asking you a temperature which is not being measured in your system, tell them that, sir, this particular measurement is not available with us. Yes, we know that it is an important one, and you should always also have an idea in general how much it should be, right? So don't give them false information. Whatever you see, whatever you are confident about, right, only give them those informations. So if some particular measurement has been asked, tell me what is the platinum inlet gas temperature you are having in your system, and the platinum inlet gas temperature is not being measured. So you tell them, sir, in our system we don't have this measurement. We have this only starting with this. Many of the system is having only after the superheater outlet, there is the LTSH inlet or the economizer inlet. From there the gas temperature starts. Tell them, right? But yeah, you should also know in general how much it should be, and prepare all this detail: pressure and temperature in the flue gas system, pressure, temperature of the water and steam system, whichever is measured in your DCS, right? All those things you should note down. Fuel analysis, if you are a coal or oil-fired boiler, right? Coal you get very frequent fuel analysis because it goes on changing. FO you will get time to time. Gas in general is not very frequently being given to you, right? But you must have the understanding of the composition of your fuel, right? So the fuel analysis, then the pressure parts metallurgy. Again, you are in operation, you usually are not bothered about the pressure parts metallurgy. That is basically a forte of the maintenance engineers, right? But when you're going for the BOE examination, you must know what pressure part metallurgies you are having. Those not many actually. So you don't need to worry about how can I learn so much metallurgy. There are not many metallurgies available. Very few: carbon steel, T11, T22, T91. In some very occasionally SS304H, 347H, something like that. Right? But you should be very confidently knowing all these pressure part details, metallurgy details. And when you're talking about pressure part metallurgy details, what is the importance? Importance is that every component, every metallurgy has got a limitation of temperature, right? So you should also know in many of your system, particularly high pressure, high temperature boiler system, you have the metal temperature given. So in general, how much metal temperature you are getting, what are the limits of this metal temperature? Because beyond which we call it a metal temperature excursion, right? So what are the limits of this metal temperature given for every section, right? You should also know that. You should know a few other things like the safety valve set pressure. Sometimes they ask you what are the safety valve set pressure you have, right? So again, uh, not many. There will be 3, 4, 5 safety valves. Yeah, some people will be having 11, 13 safety valves depending upon the capacity of the boiler. So don't worry about all the safety valves. Know the drum safety valve set pressure and the main superheated steam safety valve set pressure, right? That you should know, both the set as well as the reset pressure, right? So note it down there. Then sometimes they just want to check that whether you are uh, really working in the operation or not, right? So they might ask you typical questions like, okay, tell me about when was the last time you have faced an emergency in your system, and what have you done? What action did you take? So it's not a bad idea to prepare. If it was not there in the recent past, don't worry about it. Prepare because he is not from your boiler system. He doesn't know about you, what has happened in your boiler or what, right? So ask with your senior colleagues, what was the emergency that we have faced last time? What did we do? Why did we take that action, right? All those details you should prepare as a ready answer. Sometimes they are going to ask you about this. Last time a boiler tube failure happened in your system, and what action did you take? What was the root cause? How did you come to know about it? What were the precautions that have taken by you so that it doesn't happen in future? All those things again might come. So prepare that. Uh, Pressure parts arrangement in the flue gas path. See, if somebody is asking you, okay, can you show me the diagram about your boiler? So in a simple diagram showing that evaporator, the pressure part arrangement means where is the platen superator, where is the final superator, where is the LTSH and all that. This is very important, particularly in case of a West recovery boiler. Because West recovery boiler, many a times in various process industries, it happens so that in a particular furnace there are some water tube configuration waste heat recovery system which ultimately goes to a drum where the steam is produced. Now from there the steam is coming to somewhere, sometimes in a heat exchanger where this process furnace, after heating the process, is sending the process fluid at high temperature and the superheater is getting heat from there. Sometimes the superheater is going to the same uh, furnace where the process is being heated. In the convection side, they take the heat. So this kind of a configuration is a little complicated. You should have the capability of drawing it very simply and explaining it to your examiner. Okay. Now the drum internals. What are the purpose of it? How do you check it? What are the maintenance practices? Right. Naturally, when you are on operation, very few operation engineers actually has to enter the drum. It's the job of the maintenance people. But make it a practice. Whenever you get a chance, when your drum is open, go inside, take a look. And that is where you are getting the steam. So no harm in taking a look. How does it look like? Okay, what are the components available? Because all these are ultimately affecting your operation, right? So what are the drum internals do you have? The safety, the safety interlocks, the trips and the their limits, right? Again, very, very important. What are the safety interlocks you have? Okay. One thing when I talk about the interlocks and the trips, right? Startup procedure from cold start or from warm start condition, right? So what are the startup procedure? What are the step-by-step approach in the startup? Okay, practice this question sometimes because this is something which you do, but doing is another one thing, saying is another, right? In during explaining how do you start, you might miss some very important areas which is definitely going to affect the quality of the answer. Okay, so make it a point to practice these answers with somebody who is also pretty confident about this and see that nothing is being mixed. So the startup procedure, the shutdown procedure, practice these answers. SH and RH attemperation spray quantity. Again, RH is of course in many cases it is 0, right? But sometimes you might be having less RH temperature. Those kind of problems might also have. See, if you have some kind of a problem in your system, right? It's not a bad idea to actually tell them, sir, actually we are facing some problem with getting our RH temperature, right? Discuss with your senior colleagues why we are facing such problems, what actions we are taking, right? If you know this, that why we are facing this problem, and when somebody is asking you about your RH temperature, you tell them, sir, actually in our design RH is 539, but we are hardly getting 500 and 505, and that is a problem in our system. And you tell them a little bit about this problem. Now, those sort of things are going to absolutely ensure that you are good. It is going to tell the examiner that yes, you are very much aware about your own system. You have got a reasonable good knowledge about your system. Now, those sort of answers are expected by them. They look for those kind of answers. Okay, so in this point, if the spray quantity, again, another parameter which are not being monitored very, very frequently unless it is highly abnormally high or something like that, right? But this is a very important parameter. Spray quantity, the unburned percentage in the fly ash and bottom ash, right? These are all performance parameters. When you talk about the APH outlet gas temperature, yeah, that would be known to many of you. But the unburned in the fly ash, unburned in the bottom ash, this sort of parameters are actually maintained by the performance monitoring group. But the operation must have an idea that what kind of operation we are having, right? What is our steam to coal ratio? What is the efficiency of our boiler system? These sort of things, because you are going for a BOE, you are a BOE engineer, you must know this. The O2 percentage you measure or you are maintain at the APH, both inlet and outlet in case you are having a rotary air preheater, then the leakage would be identified by that. So you might be measuring that. So mention that, okay? The makeup water percentage, something like attemperation spray. Very few people would be knowing this. In the operation people, they might not have much idea about the makeup water percentage in your system. Very important parameter. Always make yourself aware about it, right? And the water and steam chemistry parameter, which is being given by your laboratory from time to time. You keep that as a resource material for you. Take an analysis report, keep it as a resource material. Before going to Viva, you prepare that. Okay? And again, one last but not the least, I would not say last, there can be many other. Everything about your boiler system is important, right? But yes, one important area is the feed water treatment. Have a very thorough understanding and knowledge about what treatment you are doing, both as in the DM plant to make the DM water, as well as in the feed water system, what you are dosing, where you are dosing, how much you are maintaining, all those details should be known to you, right? So with this, I am going to conclude today's session. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section, right? I will see if whenever I get the time, I will definitely answer you back. And in my next category under this particular section of BOE, let me see, whenever I manage, I will try to share some resources with you, which is going to help you in the preparation, both in terms of the theory questions as well as the numerical problems, right? So thank you and bye-bye.